What's going on, everybody? Welcome into the pod at the Palace. Curtis Wilkerson, Scottie Borderline here with you from Natty State Sports Studios in downtown Fayetteville for maybe the only time this week. We'll see. We're hitting the road. The Tour de Central Arkansas. We're out of here. That's why we wanted to get in here early on Monday morning and talk about stuff, because we assume, or at least we're told, or at least we're hopeful that this might be an eventful week for basketball. We'll see. We've heard that before.
It would be nice if it was.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm tired of hearing about the labor pains. Show me the baby.
Yeah. No. No kidding. I mean, I'm just like, I'm ready for something to happen, and I'm ready for Z to have some company.
Yes. Poor guy.
Somebody to talk to on the roster. A scholarship guy. No offense to Lawson Blake, but yeah, I'm ready for some stuff to pop off instead of just checking my phone every 2 minutes and it's somebody else committing, or, you know, Sam Pittman's got a couple transfer portal commitments.
Yeah, what the heck?
Cal's only got one.
It's crazy, man. And
Sam don't even like the portal. Like, he straight up said as much. He's
but he's fleecing Cal right now.
He's got 2 commitments.
You know, I think 2 things can be true, Scottie, at the same time. One, I 100% understand where anyone is coming from who's like, dude, can we get in on the party here? Like, can we get an invite to the portal party, please?
Yeah.
It's maybe a little bit frustrated with some of the inaction. But the other part of it is Arkansas is going to be fine. They are. And so, like, I'm not going to, browbeat anybody and say, you just need to be patient and trust the process. Well, ultimately, like, it's going to play out, and Arkansas is going to have a really good roster. I firmly believe that. But for anyone who's frustrated that, you're seeing just dude after dude after dude go to Auburn, go to Alabama, go to Kentucky, Michigan picked up a whole team over the weekend. Muss over at USC picked up a whole team over the weekend. And you're like, can we have something? Yeah. I get it.
Yeah. I wanted to say something real fast. I know I put out, I think it was Friday night. It may have been Saturday. I can't remember. Days run together sometimes. Keyshawn Hall committing to UCF, right?
Yeah.
And I put out a tweet that said deletes Keyshawn Hall commitment analysis from 2 weeks ago. I want to go on the record and say that I was not frustrated that Arkansas did not get him. I was more frustrated that I wrote it for no reason. Like, yes. I think those 2 things are mutually exclusive.
I agree with that. 100%.
I'm not mad that Arkansas doesn't have Keyshawn Hall. Like, I think he would have been fine. It was more like I thought the story was good, and now it's just like goes into that trash bin with a bunch of other ones that we've written over the last few years with Eric.
Yeah, no doubt about it, man.
The Amari Williams announcement was annoying. Like, we've liked him for a long time.
Yeah. The way I justified it in my mind was Kentucky had to go get him because Arkansas stole their big man. That's how I feel a little bit better about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I liked him too.
And then the Jeremy Roach deal, just going to play for Scott Drew at Baylor. Like, that's tough. And
it's a punch in the nuts when he hits the portal, and then right away it's like, yeah, Arkansas is a major player. And then less than 24 hours later, you're hearing, $1.5 million bags and Baylor. And it's like, oh, that was fun to think about for half a day.
Yeah. Yeah. That was it. But yeah, Amari Williams, I think, is going to be good at Kentucky. Jeremy Roach will be good at Baylor. I don't know. I guess we'll just have to keep waiting around.
Yeah. It's funny how this job works, man, because it was a boring, uneventful weekend. I mean, Z was in town. That was cool. Him and Cal were at the softball game. Cal's, he's politicking it up, taking pictures with children. Z's out there, Big Z, not to be confused with the man, the myth, the legend, Coach Z, by the way. He's out there calling the hogs at the softball game, getting some picks in the Razorback thread. So that's cool, man. I like that.
Yeah.
But
looks good in that red and white, doesn't he?
He does look good in that red and white. Sunday was kind of a bummer, though. Like, I felt there was about a period of maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours, where it was almost like the wheels were falling off all of a sudden. It was just one announcement after another that sucked for Arkansas. Like, Amari Williams goes to Drexel. Jeremy Roach goes to Baylor. Orlando Antigua, who we kind of saw it heading that direction, but he's officially off to Illinois
Yeah, I'd
as an
forgotten
assistant
about that
coach.
one.
So you're
Yeah.
thinking like, oh, well, what does that mean for maybe some of these freshmen or whatever? And you still don't have any commitments through the weekend. And I could feel like the hair on the back of my neck standing up from Razorback fandom, just getting increasingly irritated. But then all of a sudden, it's like things start happening. You know? Oh, yeah, Carter Knox is going to be here today for a visit. Finally, thank you.
Yeah.
Some movement there. That's great. Oh, Arkansas is maybe they're a final. Maybe it's a 2-horse race for John L. Davis from Florida Atlantic. Oh, okay. Well, that's real interesting. Oh, it looks like maybe some of these big men are getting out of their important weekend visits uncommitted, and there could be something there with Arkansas. And then we start getting messages. I know you and I both got the same one, and then I wound up getting another couple that were saying about the same thing, which, listen, I'm done putting timelines on this stuff because it just
Absolutely.
makes you guys yell at me. I understand that. And so if I feel really, really good about something, I'll tell you. I feel really, really good that Arkansas is going to get at least 2 commitments this week. Yeah, I said it. Okay, and I think it's going to be 2 guys that are fairly obvious to everyone at this point.
Ramped up. It has to start getting ramped up soon, right?
Right. But we've heard, and I've now heard this from 3 or 4 different people that I trust, places that I trust, who said, hey, get ready for a flood. It's going to be a crazy week. Might have multiple days of multiple commitments. Don't be surprised if there's 5 or 6 guys. I'm just telling you what I've been told, okay? And so if that comes to fruition, that is freaking awesome because I'm ready for it, all right?
Yeah.
We're all ready for it. We need a roster. We need some excitement around this place. So if that happens, that'd be really cool. Am I taking it with a little bit of a grain of salt? You bet your butt I am because it's been 2 weeks and nothing's happened. And we were told this at the introductory presser for Coach Cal. Hey, don't be surprised. We get through the weekend, he's got a starting lineup intact. Well, that didn't happen.
Yeah.
So, but the point is, the further along we get, maybe the more I believe these things because they got to get players and they're going to. So, yeah, like at some point, things are going to start happening here.
Yeah.
We're starting to see some visits, some targets become narrowed down. The high school showcase circuit deal is over. Decisions are going to start being made here, and sign me up for it because I'm ready to have a team.
Yeah, same here. I think we've just got to get used to recruiting efforts not being just so freaking public.
Yep.
Now, you know what I mean? Like Cal and Eric, while they may have gotten along when they were together, they move differently. They operate differently. Eric is reaching out to D3 guys in February. Cal is behind the scenes on Elijah Martin.
Yeah,
we
who
found
knew?
out when he committed elsewhere.
Right.
Like I think that's really what we're dealing with. Like we know the high school guys that he's in on. I feel like he's making it maybe it seems like there's a lot of effort there to, be present and
Right.
have a presence there.
Yeah, he's offering a bunch of 2025 guys too. Like he's going to get his 5-star freshman.
Yeah.
But
And I think the transfer guys are maybe a little bit different. I think he's keeping a low profile, but I think Arkansas fans have gotten, and understandably, I'm kind of the same way. Like I'm used to the transfer recruitment being just so out there, and now it's like we found out Arkansas is in on a guy in the aftermath when he's not, coming to Arkansas.
It's kinda crazy.
It's different. It's moving. The guys just move different, and we've got to adapt.
think about just in the last week, you find out that Arkansas was, deep in the mix with Umar Ballo. And then you find out that they were a finalist for AJ Storr. And then you find out that they were a finalist for Elijah Martin. And on one hand, you can look at that and be like, well, they didn't get any of them. True, might have been behind on some of those guys, quite honestly, because there was a period of time there where Cal's taking another job. And then he had to start recruiting for an entirely different school. So that's part of it. But I think for anyone who's wondering if, was he just not putting effort into the transfers? No, I think he very clearly is. So that's good to see. We knew that last week he was out at the Overtime Elite thing. The next day he's at Montverde to see Liam McNeely, who's at UConn right now on a visit. They're probably going to lock him up. We'll see. But then all of a sudden you see our man Trilly is out there saying, "Oh yeah, Cal was visiting John L. Davis down there during that trip." Well, good to know. But John L. Davis hasn't said a word since he entered the portal, and he's also testing the draft waters.
Yeah.
And Cal ain't saying a word. So things like that are just happening behind the scenes, and it's unless you just get lucky or run into the right source or see a guy somewhere or whatever, you just don't know. And so there's honestly like no telling who they're legitimately on, but we have a pretty good idea at least now of who some of the targets are that are narrowing things down. So I'm still very excited, but I'm ready for something to happen for sure.
Yeah.
And naturally, with us being on the road all week, it's going to be crazy. So folks, listen, the plan doesn't change. Like when things pop off, me and Scottie are going live. Could that be from a McDonald's between here and Conway today? Maybe. Who knows? Could it be at a random Airbnb?
About that
yeah.
Today.
We got to make a plan. Could it be at Dickie Stevens Park, one of us, and then one of us back? Who knows what it's going to look like, but we're going to figure it out. So bear with us. It should be an exciting week.
Yeah, I'm definitely expecting something to happen like
on the
Tuesday
drive
while I'm driving back home. Yeah, I'll have to pull off at a quick sack parking lot and get the laptop out and just hope that my hotspot holds up. You know,
it's going to be crazy. My plan, I don't know what the heck we're going to do if something happens when we drive. We might just go live on YouTube from like the 5G on my phone. Let's say you're driving, and then you just keep your eyes on the road, but I'll tilt the selfie stick towards you and let you. I don't know, man. We'll figure it out, but it has the chance to potentially be legendary. So we'll see. But we do have a lot of updates on specific guys. We'll talk about the freshmen. We'll talk about the transfers. But before we do that, I want to take just a quick minute to tell you guys about our friends over at Signature Bank. As always, Signature is a privately held boutique bank that's redefining the banking experience in our region. They blend the warmth and familiarity of a community bank with the sophistication of a commercial bank and the expertise of private banking to deliver unmatched levels of service. You're looking for reasons to bank with Signature? There's plenty of them. They're personally invested, business-minded, community-focused, right-sized, and forward-thinking. Make sure you check out one of their Arkansas locations or hit the website, www.signature.bank, to learn more. Okay, Scottie, let's talk about these freshmen, brother, because we can finally do that. Like I said a minute ago, this high school showcase season is finally over. It's wild, man, because they go from McDonald's All-American game to the Nike Hoop Summit to the Jordan Brand Classic, and they're all over the country. Like, was it the McDonald's All-American game? Was it in Houston again?
I think that's right.
And then the Nike Hoop Summit's in Portland, and then the Jordan Brand Classic was at Barclays. So they're all over the freaking country.
Yeah.
And we wonder, why maybe some of these guys haven't been locked up or there hasn't been a lot of movement. It's because those guys have been moving different, man. They've been all over the place.
I know if I was traveling like that, I wouldn't want to talk to nobody.
No, not really. Not at all. In fairness, I will say, didn't stop Jaden Quaintance from taking a visit to Louisville in between some of these things. It didn't stop Santo Cyril from being down in Georgia over the weekend. But finally...
Interesting one there.
Yeah, very interesting. Finally, a visit is confirmed. Carter Knox, our man. He might be here right now for all we know. Monday morning. He's coming to Fayetteville today for a visit. That's good stuff. I had a lot of people putting things out there that maybe his parents were in town late last week, and nothing was ever confirmed. But it is confirmed that he's coming on a visit, and it's pretty simple to me. Lock it up today. Get it done. Come get the pictures taken in the uniform. Do whatever you got to do. It's still in the signing period. Lock it up. Be done with it. Announce it. Boom. Let's get this thing rolling.
Yeah. I found a story that Knox was quoted in. I think it was on 3. He said, "Coach, this is Carter Knox. Coach Calipari, he sent a lot of people to the league, and I want to be a pro. He told me he's going to make me a pro. I'm ready to hoop and win a national championship." That was when, obviously, he was, with Kentucky or whatever. But he mentioned Cal first, man. And I get that a lot of kids probably can separate the coach from the school, and they just want to go play at Kentucky. But this kid, in that quote, I didn't see a mention about Kentucky. It's Cal.
Yeah.
Cal's the difference maker, and I'm with you. I just wish they'd lock him up.
Get it done.
Yeah.
I want that to be the reason that we're recording from an Arby's somewhere today. Just get it done. And especially after, and I wasn't 100% sure about this off the top, and I should have been, but we were recording live right after what happened. Oh, the Kenny Payne hire the other day. Louisville was a finalist for Knox, just like they were for, DJ Wagner. I mean, so you've got the relationship there with Cal. Now you've got Kenny Payne on staff, which is another guy that obviously Carter Knox is really interested in playing for. This should it should be a done deal. Like, they should just be able to wrap this up, and hopefully that's the case. I think it'd be a really good start to maybe getting some other dominoes to fall in this freshman class. It's McDonald's All-American. The 2024 class is not it's not a great class, and it's not super deep, but he's a 5-star caliber guy. And I've gone and watched about as much film as I could find on him from this last year at Overtime Elite.
Yeah.
And he's grown on me quite a bit. He is a big, powerful wing.
He is.
And he's a little more skilled than I thought he was, honestly. I was expecting maybe a raw athlete that had some work to do on refining his game. He's skilled, man. He can handle a little bit. I like what he's got going on in transition. And his shooting numbers, they won't blow you off the page by any means, but I think there's something to his perimeter jumper. Like I think that's something you can work with.
Yeah, for sure.
What did he shoot for this, like 34-ish percent from three?
Somewhere in that range.
Yeah. But it looks good.
I don't think it was great. I can't remember if it was not great in the regular season and okay in the postseason, like their playoff deal, or vice versa. But you mentioned that they at that OTE combine or whatever, 6'6", 226. Is that right?
Yeah.
So yeah, like on three's got him still at 211. Like that's good weight.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
It looks
that
exactly.
he's put on, but I think his frame is projectable. There's a lot to work with, and you got a kid coming in 6'6", like he's Jeremiah Davenport size.
Right.
At his age, is
18-year-old.
crazy. Yeah, and then you potentially get him in there with Dave Rich, like he's
Body by
he got
Rich.
a chance to lean out a little bit, but also
maybe get a little more explosive. And
yeah. I think that's broad shoulders is the scout. Should add good weight relatively easy once he gets into a college strength and conditioning program. I think that's it. But
yeah, man.
Yeah, you're right. He's explosive. I want to see that jumper make a little bit of progress because, I mean, you look at the NBA now, dude. It's nothing but 6'6" and
3-and-D,
6'6" and up 3-and-D guys.
Yeah.
Out there around the stars.
Yeah, I think. Okay, he is not and no shade here intended, but he's not a Bayfall McDonald's All-American.
No.
I think this is a dude who can be in the rotation as a freshman, as a first-year guy in
he
a good
had 9
team.
points in 12 minutes in the McDonald's All-American game.
He's good, man. And I don't know if I don't think he's your focal point or anything like that, but he's definitely a guy who, if you have him coming off your bench, you're doing all right.
Yes.
For yourself. And you're not hurting too bad if he's a starter, if you got the right pieces around him. But yeah. I love him as just kind of the wing coming off the bench and giving you some good minutes there. I think he could be a really good fit. So hopefully Arkansas gets that locked up today. I just anticipate that they will. We'll see. Hopefully it's announced.
Oh, you're right.
Stop
Good
sitting
Lord.
on this crap. Some other freshmen, Boogie Fland. He was out at the Jordan Brand Classic and looked good. He's good, man. Boogie Fland is the real deal. He's just got to put on some weight.
Yeah.
But boy, he can play. He can really play. But he said, Adam Zagoria, shout out to him, by the way, for just being able to score some quick interviews with like every one of these guys we've been waiting to hear from.
Bro, you said last night he was doing the Lord's work.
Dude.
Man. Yeah, he took us to church on Sunday night.
Yeah, we needed all that. And then he had some nice little quotes there about Cal and him wanting him to come to Arkansas, and he's got to talk to his people and everything like that.
He does have to talk to his people.
Yeah.
He made that pretty clear.
Maybe I'm just being silly, but from what I've gathered behind the scenes, I feel good about where Arkansas is at with this one. I know he's a hot commodity, and we'll see if anything happens with visits or hearing out other schools. I know he's had a ton of programs who've contacted him. I think Arkansas is in a real good spot here. I really do. And I think there are probably levels to the priorities of this freshman class for Cal. And I think he's at the very top of it. I like where Arkansas is at here, and hopefully we get something soon. When he reopened things, I was told maybe a couple weeks before you hear something. That was about a week ago. So timeline shift, they change, but maybe we hear something about Boogie Flan sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
But he'd be a good one.
He feels like a kid that was just, something huge happens that affects him. Yeah, he makes a decision pretty quickly to, back out of, his commitments to Kentucky. And then he just focusing on ball.
Yeah.
Until it's over, and now he's just trying to wait and see. You got to talk to my people, see what they're talking about.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
I think kids can compartmentalize. I think because they know that they're wanted at the end of the day. But yeah, he is really nice. Like, and I wonder, like, the quotes they weren't like super insightful.
Sure.
But at the same time, I'm wondering if he's just like, on one hand, I wonder if he's kind of got an idea what he wants to do.
Exactly.
And then on the other hand, I'm like, he's trying to wait and see or talk to his people or whatever as just like this gets me out of this because I just don't want to talk about it. I'm worn out.
Right.
Type of deal.
Yeah.
I think it's one of those two. Could be both.
Maybe it is a little bit of both, but I think you're spot on with that. Jaden Quaintance, we talked about a ton. Top 10 big man, 2-year guy because he's young. And let me say this about Jaden Quaintance: he's a massive priority because just of his size, his ability, and you got 2 years of him at that age. Like, he's just only going to get better and better and better. If Arkansas lands Jaden Quaintance, I'm not expecting him to come in and be a double guy next season. Don't get it twisted on that front. I think he can help? Absolutely.
For sure.
But I don't think he's going to put up crazy numbers as a 17-year-old freshman forward in the SEC. But it's just so rare to be able to have an opportunity to get a guy like that for 2 years. He went on the Louisville visit. He didn't commit or anything like that while he was there. And a lot of people thought it would either wind up being Louisville or Arkansas. And then he did an interview with Adam Zagoria, our boy. Shout out to Zags once again, and said yes, he plans on visiting Arkansas. He also would like to visit Memphis, and that his family's been in contact with Arizona State.
Yeah,
he ain't going to Arizona State. I'm just going to tell you that right now. He's not going to Arizona State.
What an odd one to drop.
Bobby Hurley's not even going to be there for 2 more years. So he's not going there. We can just go ahead and mark that one out right now. Arkansas, Louisville, Memphis is a new one to me, but that's interesting because he's gotten those young guys before, and we know they got that FedEx money coming in over there.
They do, don't they? Yeah.
You keep your eye on it, but hopefully that visit's just got to happen sooner rather than later. I think we're almost to a point with some of the other bigs that Arkansas is talking to, where I'm not saying put a deadline on him, but I think you can start really pushing the issue of, hey, let's get you down here to campus.
Yeah.
This is what we have to offer. If I'm Cal, like, you know me, you know what the plan is. That hasn't changed just because I'm at a different school. What's up?
Yeah.
Let's get a move on here.
For sure.
So I almost anticipate either having Boogie Fland and Jaden Quaintance on campus for visits this week, or hearing that a visit has been officially scheduled this week. Right. Like, I think now is where it really starts to move with these freshmen. I could be wrong.
Yeah.
Did you hear anything about Billy Richmond at this? He was at the Jordan Brand Classic yesterday.
No, I've not heard.
I didn't hear anything about him. I didn't get to watch the game. I want to go back and check it out. And I don't think anybody talked to him either. So I'm still kind of, just full disclosure with everybody, a little bit in the dark about that. I know he's got a relationship with DJ Wagner. Obviously, there's family ties with him and Cal. Memphis ties, so it's a regional deal also. So a lot of it makes sense, but I just have not really heard much about it. I'm just being honest.
Yeah. I thought the Quaintance quotes in that Zag story were interesting. Yeah. He was just saying what makes sense. I'm like, Cal makes sense.
Cal makes a lot of sense.
And then it's so interesting reading these, and I think it's like I got to talk to my people, see what they're talking about, and I'm remembering that Jaden Quainance is like 16.
Yeah.
And so he's like, yeah, my dad does most of the talking.
Yes.
For me, and so like, hopefully you're relaying to him what you want and what you think makes sense. So, Arkansas baseball is back in town this weekend. Maybe that.
What's the big? Is this the big
play.
Florida series?
Yeah,
yeah. That would be a good one to have some dudes at for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Isn't that what Cal did with Z? He just took him to a baseball game. Was that midweek? Was that a midweek or weekend? Man, I can't remember.
I don't remember.
Dude.
Yeah.
I really can't remember. It's been the longest 12 days. Cal's been hired for 12 days.
Yeah.
It feels like he's been here for a month. Legitimately feels like he's been here for a month. It's been kind of a lot of wait and see.
No doubt. No doubt about it. The last one on the freshman, then we can move on to some transfers. Samto Cyril went and visited Georgia, left there uncommitted. With Cyril, honestly, I don't know where he's at on the priority list for flips for Arkansas. I just don't know. And had heard some talk that maybe he was a package deal with Carter Knox. I don't know if there's any truth to that or not. I know that there are a lot of ties and relationships with Cal and Overtime Elite that makes you take a guy like that. And listen, Cyril, don't get me wrong, he's a grown man.
Yeah.
He's an incredible athlete. He's a problem around the rim, especially defensively. Super, super raw. So he's closer to a Bay Fall type of project. He's closer physically, but just in terms of his rawness and his skill set as a basketball player.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's what they're looking for or not, quite honestly. So had heard that Georgia was becoming a factor in the mix. They get him down there for a visit.
That's interesting.
We'll see if he makes the trip to Fayetteville or not. I don't know that he will. I really don't.
Yeah. What's the connect with Georgia? Is it just...
Maybe he's just been in Atlanta at the OTE thing? Because
so.
For a while, I had been told that if he...
It has to be that Georgia NIT title game run, right?
Probably so, yeah.
Yeah,
I think that's... Yeah. For a while, I had been told that if he wasn't going to follow Cal to Arkansas, that he might really look into some pro options. I don't know if he's an older guy or what the deal is there, but that's kind of where we're at on those guys. But Knox, love where they're at. Boogie, really, really like where they're at. Quaintance, I just looking at it, I still feel like ultimately he winds up a Razorback. I guess it depends on where the priorities lie. If it's NIL, you would think Arkansas is able to compete with anybody in that group of finalists there. If it's track record for getting guys to the league, all the signs really point to Arkansas to me. Mm-hmm. But you never know what a kid's thinking and what the family's thinking. So
you're not lying. Like there's just like no way to know, and some of the kids don't even know.
No doubt.
You know what I mean? It's that's why I do not envy the people that cover recruiting, because, I mean, not a shot at the kids, but like teenagers are day to day, man. They really are. And even these older guys that, really sought after transfer guys, they're probably the same way, so I guess we'll find out eventually.
Indeed we will. Some transfers now. This is what really gets me going. This is what gets me excited. Let's talk about the Kentucky guys first and then move on to some of the other fish in the sea. Jordan Burks, this was really interesting. He was just a back of the rotation role player as a true freshman for Kentucky last year. 6'8"-ish, 210 pounds, athletic, slashing wing, 3-4 type of dude. He hits the portal, and right away you start seeing people putting in predictions saying, "Oh yeah, Arkansas, Arkansas." I think that's pretty telling of where this is probably headed.
Probably so.
Burks is. It's kind of funny. I had people text me saying, "Hey, I just saw Jordan Burks with Big Z in Fayetteville on campus." Oh, I was driving by Bud Walton Arena and I saw him. Oh, I saw Cal and Jordan Burks at so-and-so on Dixon Street. I was getting all these random texts. Maybe he was here. I don't know. Then I saw, I guess he put something on Instagram in his car, and he's with someone else, and it was like the same shorts that Big Z was wearing or something. It's like, oh, I think they're together. And then, you know, I just, maybe he was here. But at any rate, I think he's going to be here next season. So
I think so.
We'll see what happens with that. But I'm curious. I know that you did some initial writing on him. I don't know how much of the film and the highlights you've watched. I'm curious what you think about this kid.
The frame and the athleticism jump out.
Yeah,
a lot. Like you watch that college basketball scouting tape. I think you see a couple jumpers, and then everything else is like he's hurting his wrist on the rim type of stuff. Like he gets out and runs. Who is it? Like Dylan Mitchell the other day. I'm not comparing the two, but you watch these dudes get out and run, and they'll excite you. Now I'm not like, look, Jordan Burks is probably he's gonna be a bench guy.
Yeah,
if he ends up here, like if he's starting for you, you whiffed on a lot of guys probably, but I think I almost want to make the Chandler Lawson parallel to where, like, I'm intrigued by the measurables and the athleticism and the length that's there, but I don't think he's going to be like super productive.
Yeah,
but I think that there's potential there. He's really athletic, and you know, he's another guy that if you can work on his jump shot a little bit, there might be a lot there. Yeah,
he scored 27 points per game and led the overtime elite league his last year. That's a lot of points, and he's, you know, there are levels to that OTE league, but I mean you're playing against dudes pretty much every night there.
Yeah,
and so that kind of struck me. I like him. I think if you look at it in the right lens, so I like the Chandler Lawson thought there. You know, I see him as a guy who is maybe, you know, fighting for that last spot in the rotation.
Yep.
And so if you think about the dudes who were, you know, kind of in that mix this past year for Arkansas that were in and out, I think he could be maybe an upgrade to what Arkansas had in that particular area last year. I mean, he's an upgrade on the Dennis J. Harris's of the world, of course, but like the Joseph Pinion type guy who's maybe he's in and out and whatever. I think this is just a better player than that. I think you got something there. I like some of the versatility. He looks fairly comfortable with the ball in his hands. I thought he did a good job for Kentucky early in the season when like every one of their bigs were hurt, if you remember that, except for Trey Mitchell. Like Big Z wasn't eligible, and Bradshaw was out with a foot, and Onyenso was out with something, and so he had to play a little bit more. I thought he did a pretty nice job there. He had kind of a breakout game in SEC play against Vanderbilt.
Yeah,
and you're right. Like I like the way he runs the floor. I like the way he moves. Finishes above the rim. Great. Yeah, you got to have guys like that.
Yeah. And
it seems like he's a big Cal guy, and I'd like to have him. I think it'd be a nice little pickup. Not a splashy, not a sexy kind of deal, but he's not too bad. Not too bad at all.
Yeah, for sure. I did some pre-writing on him. I mean, it's 2 points and less than 2 rebounds a game. I think he's like, I looked at his shot chart. He's 11 of 16 at the rim, 13 of 18 in the lane, and I think he was 2 of 4 from deep on the left wing. And so, like, right now his offensive game is probably limited, but just because it's limited right now doesn't mean it can't. You know, you can't develop maybe that jumper a little bit. But I think he's a guy that you know what you're going to get at least right away. I watched in time. He could be a nice piece.
I watched a pretty lengthy clip yesterday of his senior year with Overtime Elite, and he was playing against Rob Dillingham's team, and he scored a lot of points in that game. He scored a lot of points in most of those games.
Yeah,
it was a lot of putbacks, basket cuts, catching in his spot, like in the short corner at the elbow, and just ripping and getting to the rim. But he knocked down 3 or 4 threes in that game. I went back and looked, and he shot sub 30% from three, but he was taking those things. So, yeah, maybe again, it could be a guy where you could develop some stuff there. You know, it's been really quiet on DJ Wagner. Isn't that interesting, given the star power that he had and the way his recruitment went all the way through high school, and then he hits the portal and you don't hear a thing?
Yeah. It's crazy.
I get the sense there might be a reason for that. Just like we were talking about maybe Boogie Fland, where maybe he's kind of got an idea of what he wants to do based on some of his comments. Mm-hmm. Maybe the silence from DJ Wagner is telling. And we talked about the Kenny Payne factor. It was a Louisville versus Kentucky race for his recruitment out of high school. And now both those guys are on the same staff at Arkansas. The NIL's there, but honestly, he's got so many NIL deals that I don't even know how much that really matters to him. Just if you looked at his Instagram page,
I have not.
That dude's he's taken care of, man. Like he's got a lot of really good deals
Good for
there.
him.
So
get your money up, not your funny up.
Unless there's just something completely unforeseen cooking, maybe behind the curtain. Mm-hmm. It just seems it seems like a logical move to me for Wagner to be at Arkansas, and maybe that'll happen, maybe it won't.
Yeah,
but
I wouldn't mind watching him.
Yeah,
I mean, we've talked about his game quite a bit. Likes to go left a lot. You know, I keep thinking about too the on three, like kind of scout of him, the average size. I don't know. It's not a turnoff to me. I mean, I think the lack of explosiveness, like elite explosiveness, it bugs me a little bit. But I think he makes up for that with upper body strength. Mm-hmm. You know, I say average size or average height, but he is above average when it comes to, I think, physicality and strength. Yeah, I'd like to have him.
Yeah,
I like to have him. Kenny Payne. Come on.
Right. When you average 10 points per game and almost 3.5 assists as a true freshman.
Great passing.
In the SEC, and it's considered a year that's below expectations, it probably tells me you're a pretty good player.
You're a good player, for sure.
And so, yeah, definitely some things to work on.
Point.
And I could get past, I think, some of the lack of above the rim. So, I mean, he can't. And he was also dealing with a high ankle for a long stretch there. But if he was knocking down the three ball at a higher rate, and I definitely think he's a better shooter than he showed as a freshman.
Yeah.
I mean, he was against Arkansas in that last game.
No doubt.
But if you can get that up to that, you know, 33 to 35% range, I think you got a really nice player there. Mm-hmm. So I'm really intrigued by the possibility there. But you know what I'm tired of doing? No shade. And Arkansas is going to have to get some of these guys, as they should. I'm tired of talking about the retreads and the recruits. And, like, this is not the Kentucky Razorcats, all right? Mm-hmm. Let's get some other dudes. And those are the ones that are really exciting me with the potential. We talked a lot about pairing Big Z with another big man, and there have been 2 targets that have emerged. Both of them were on visits over the weekend, and both of them, as of 10 o'clock Monday morning, appear to have gotten on the other side of those visits uncommitted. Jonas Adu from Tennessee, Brandon Garrison from Oklahoma State.
Yeah, I like them a lot.
I like both of them a lot. Yes. You gotta get both of them on campus for a visit. Like, this has to happen. It has to happen.
Yeah.
I'm tired of hearing that Arkansas is in the mix for, or we've heard, it's down to Arkansas and Baylor for Jonas Adu, and then we've heard a couple other schools mentioned in there as well. Okay, well, he just visited Baylor, so if we want to be realistic about this being a thing, let's get him down to Arkansas now. Like, like we said, did Jerry Jones pick him up in Waco and bring him on the plane to Fayetteville? That's what we're trying to figure out here.
Is that today's rumor?
I don't know. I hope so. I might start it. But no, in all honesty, we know that Baylor's doing well with their NIL, and it's a great program. I mean, they've won a national title recently. Scott Drew is a hell of a coach. He's had a lot of success with big men. There's a great point guard there now in Jeremy Roach. there's a lot of appeal for a guy like Jonas Adu at Baylor. There really is.
Mm-hmm.
And I think somebody put in a crystal ball prediction for him last week, like before the visit. But if he's not committed, that means you got a chance.
Yeah.
So you do what you got to do to get
do
Adu.
what you got to do. Yeah, man, get him on campus and just make him tell you no. Like,
Right.
And that's where Cal's presence can make, I feel like, a big difference. He makes pros. I will say that he, like Adu, kind of fits like that Baylor big profile.
Yeah.
I can't even lie to you about that.
No, he does.
He really does.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't like the thought of that. And so I'm just like, Cal, do what you got to do. Hey, do what you got to do.
That's right.
And get this man on campus. And maybe you have Z try to be another selling point for you. Like, have him involved in some way and be like, have him lay out on the table why Z trusts him so much.
Yeah.
So use what you have at your disposal, which is one scholarship guy at the moment.
That's exactly right.
To make your pitches.
Yeah. And Kenny Payne, noted big man whisperer.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I mean, I think about that, and I would be looking at all those bigs from Kentucky who are now in the NBA. And if I was Cal, KP, whoever, I'd be like, hey, do me a solid. Shoot this kid a text.
Yeah.
Or whatever. And I'm sure they're doing that.
Sure.
But that would speak volumes to me. If Anthony Davis hit me up and said, hey,
No doubt.
Yeah, Karl Anthony Towns is like, listen.
Yeah, I know.
This
like
is the place
a
to
minute
be.
ago, I was hyper focused on Jonas Adu because we saw him in Bud not too long ago and just went on and on and on, just waxed poetic about him after that game. But Brandon Garrison's a real deal too.
Yeah,
I mean, he's got huge upside. Maybe you throw to him that, like, look, you've got these natural gifts. You're a former McDonald's All-American. You produced in the Big 12 year one. Come here, we can develop you. Kenny Payne is going to work with you. Our goal with you is for you to be out of here in X number of months.
Mm-hmm.
And it ain't a big number.
Yeah.
So Brandon Garrison, I think I put in his profile like the Daniel Gafford type build. It's another big guy that can really run. Who was that, Ellis?
Is Ellis in here?
I don't know. That was strange.
I hope that came across in the mic.
Ooh.
Anyway.
Spooky.
Yeah,
Brandon Garrison's real deal.
I'm with you on Garrison. And for whatever reason, I feel better about Arkansas's chances with Garrison right now than I do Jonas Adu. Maybe because of the Baylor factor.
Yeah.
There seems like a lot of appeal there. But we'll see how it works out. But Garrison there's already been some interest expressed in setting up a visit this week to Arkansas. So that just needs to happen now. And if you think about the other competition for him, it's Oklahoma. So there's something about being the home state hero.
Mm-hmm.
But a program that, when's the last time they went to the NCAA tournament? They've got a lame duck coach. They don't have a roster either. I don't know about that side of things with the appeal. Texas, he just went there. They've got a lot to offer. That brand new arena in there. Dylan Dessou has graduated. He's out of there. So there's an opening. But they also got Caden Shedrick back in the post. And both of those guys are true fives.
Yeah.
So I don't know how that works. I think you can sell it a little bit better at Arkansas with Z as a guy who can stretch the floor a little bit and you can tweak some of the possibilities.
Right.
And then Kentucky was the other school trying to get in the mix, but I just don't see that happening because they just got Amari Williams, and it feels like they're probably going to get Great Osabor also. Those two guys can't really play together.
No.
How the hell are you going to add Brandon
like
Garrison to that mix?
For the other,
yeah.
But you don't get Great Osabor and just sit him behind Amari Williams and vice versa. Like, I don't know. That doesn't.
Yeah, so it seems like a pretty good fit, in my opinion, with Garrison and Arkansas. And hopefully they get something scheduled to both of those guys. For me, get one of them. You're not going to get both of them. Somebody asked me the other day on the Discord, well, if you could get 2 or 3 of Garrison Jonas Adu and Jaden Quaintance, who would you want? And I said, well, Garrison and Adu.
Yeah.
I mean, they're the two best players, but that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
But get one of them, and I think you're cooking at that point in the
Absolutely.
front court. What do you make of this John L. Davis stuff?
It makes sense that Cal is in on him. I mean, he's top available player in the portal by On3's ranking.
Yep.
I mean, we were talking the other day about, like, who would you like to see Arkansas go after? And I'm just like, why can't they go after John L. Davis?
Yeah.
Why can't you do that? But I'm sure his asking price is crazy because he took FAU to a Final Four.
Yeah, he did.
So, yeah, his asking price is going to be crazy. I also think he's a pro. And so, are we sure he's gonna play college ball next year?
I haven't looked at any mock drafts.
I don't know. I think he's a pro.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know that he's a year one impact guy in the NBA by any means, but I mean, if he's not going pro, you got to throw everything at him.
Yeah.
Make him say no.
Yep. I agree. We'll see what happens. To my knowledge, he hasn't taken any visits. Doesn't sound like he's going to Michigan, which people just thought would happen with Dusty May.
Their admissions department is just undefeated, huh?
Yeah, it's weird. They have been picking up some transfers, so I don't know if it's that or if maybe he just wants a different look or
Yeah.
I don't know.
May have.
But I could see that. Like if I'm testing the waters in the draft and I'm thinking, okay, but if I go back to college, I need to do something different and test myself at not necessarily a different level because Dusty May's at Michigan now, but maybe just a change of scenery, prove yourself in a different environment kind of deal.
Yeah.
Where it would make sense. I guess Kentucky's been mentioned there. I had heard Houston for a while early on, but as I understand it, they don't have any spots.
Yeah, what
at
I
this
read
point.
the other day that they're like over one.
Right. So they maybe they have to figure some things out on that front.
Yeah.
But hey, on February 7th, I said I'd pay him $1 million. So
You did.
I mean, you get a guy like that in here. But that's the type of splash Arkansas's got to make. It just is.
Yeah, put some
Whether
folks on
it's
notice.
John L. Davis or somebody else of that ilk in the backcourt,
Yeah.
you got to do that. It can't be all your freshmen and then dudes from Kentucky and then a couple guys we've never heard of. You have to make that kind of splash because if you go hire a Hall of Fame head coach and you pay him Hall of Fame head coach money and you give him Hall of Fame head coach NIL, you gotta make an absolute splash with somebody, more than one somebody, preferably.
Yeah.
But that's the kind of guy you throw the bag at and see what happens, in my opinion.
No, absolutely. I'm 100% with you. What did you make of like the Kaysen Pryor and the Sean Stewart contacts? Either one of those guys intrigue you?
Both of them do, I think, for different reasons. Kaysen Pryor, he is a forward from South Florida. South Florida was really good this year. They won the AAC. They didn't win the conference tournament, and they didn't make the NCAAs, but he is 6'10", gives off those Grant Nelson vibes.
Yeah, that
honestly.
was a great call.
Maybe not as refined as a ball handler, but I think he might be a better shooter overall than Grant Nelson.
I probably agree with that.
But a lot of that to his game, put up some pretty good numbers at South Florida, had a few monster games. I really like the idea of that. I love guys who can play the four, who have enough size and height and length to impact things defensively and on the glass, but that they can stretch it and put it. And I think it would be a really nice fit. It seems like he might be pretty early on in his recruitment.
Yeah.
But eventually, some of these schools are going to start running out of money, and Arkansas is not. They haven't used any. So aside from paying Kenny Payne's, Kenny Payne's making like $75,000 for every win he has on his resume. That dude's making a lot of money for an assistant. We just need to we need to acknowledge that.
Yeah, that's tough.
He's being well taken care of. But as far as the NIL funds are concerned, like I don't know what this guy would command. I don't think it would be crazy unless
Yeah.
people just get desperate late in the game. But no, I like Pryor. I'm impressed by him. Sean Stewart, I'm just intrigued by the potential.
Yeah.
Love his size. Again, another guy who was a McDonald's All-American type, highly recruited. He just wasn't going to play with a guy like Filipowski there at Duke.
Right.
So,
Yeah, he seems like he rebounds in bulk.
yeah.
That's the thing I came away with. He grabbed more total rebounds than two of his teammates who played like over 900 minutes.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. And I think another teammate had fewer rebounds than him, and he played more than 600. The thing that jumped out to me about this Case and Pryor kid, he's from Chicago. Chin Coleman.
I like that.
Get in there.
I didn't think about that.
Get in the weeds. Yeah, Case, he's just 35% three-point shooter at 6'10", 210. I mean, I think you made a great call with Grant Nelson. I think Case and Pryor's probably a little bit more comfortable than Grant Nelson was in terms of like putting the ball on the floor like 4, 5, 6 times. He's super intriguing.
Yeah.
Boy can
He's got
step out and shoot it. 40% from deep in conference last year.
I like that. He's got some uniqueness to his game. He's a little herky jerky.
Yeah.
He's got like that little hezzy kind of stop and go in transition even.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I should have downloaded some of the film so we could play it. If things move further, we'll do that. And we're going to start doing that now that full disclosure, I've learned how to do it on here and get it to play without screwing up. So be on the lookout for that. But yeah, he's got some interesting game to him, and I'm intrigued by it. If this was the Eric Musselman regime, I would have already put him at the top of the board, if I'm being honest, because he kind of screams that kind of guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's got my attention for sure.
He's a guy that I think he has the ball in his hands, and he sees a guy in front, like probably going to have 6'8" to 6'9" or below defending him.
Yeah.
And he's just like, he's licking his lips, looking at this barbecue chicken in front of him.
That's
like
right.
he's going to put
Let me
the ball
throw
on the
this
floor
at you.
and get by him.
I'm going to make a statement here and tell me what you think about it. And I'm not sure I'm sold on it yet or not, but I'm going to say it anyway. Dylan Mitchell is the sexier name that Arkansas might be involved with at that 4 spot, but Case and Pryor might be the better fit.
Yeah. I'd agree with that.
I'd love to have either one of them. I love me some Dylan
he's a
Mitchell,
terrific
honestly.
fit.
But yeah, I think he could be a really, really good fit. I agree.
Yeah. I mean, you play him and Big Z at the same time. Good Lord.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, man.
Almighty, yeah. How do you match up with that defensively? You just go really big. You
I
just try to
guess.
punk them, but you're probably going to get outran. would be
I
my
also,
guess.
that jogged my memory. I'm glad you just said that because I was thinking about, the possibility of Big Z and a Jonas Adu or a Brandon Garrison or whatever. And I stumbled across a clip accidentally yesterday. I have no idea how I wound up on this, but it was a pre-NCAA tournament presser, a media availability with Coach Cal.
Yeah.
And he was talking about just how bad they were defensively last year. And he was like, I might have some things up my sleeve. We might have some things that we have to throw out there. And he was like, what if I played 2 7-footers at the same time? What if I did that? We might lose a little bit offensively, but we'd be tougher to score on around the rim. So the thought has at least crossed his mind to play a couple big guys together like that. Oh,
This pleases me.
Yeah. I mean, listen, the possibilities would be endless if you had a Big Z and Jonas Adu out there on the floor at the same time in terms of what you could call them.
Oh, yeah.
It would be, it could be electric.
Yeah, I'll need a minute.
Yeah. We'll think about it. We got a long car ride to discuss this.
Yeah, we do. We can think about that for sure. That's at the top of the list on the ride down.
And we've done it again where we've talked for an hour and there's a decent likelihood that we're going to have to go live again in a few hours. And all this hard work will just be people will be on to the next thing, you know?
That's okay. This one's, I wouldn't say this one's evergreen, but there's some,
It's
maybe
semi-green.
maybe we'll hit some highlights. Like this is when we talked about Case and Pryor. This is when we talked about Big Z and Jonas Adu playing
This could be a
together.
very good, this
Yeah.
is a very clippable
It is.
Monday morning podcast is what this is.
No doubt.
So, we done here?
I think so.
Yeah, I think so too. We covered a lot, man.
I think so.
Yeah.
I just need to feed the meter.
Yeah,
In a few
exactly.
minutes.
Great day for our parking lot to be getting resurfaced.
that's a tough one.
That is a tough one. But at any rate, folks, if you're in Central Arkansas, make sure you come. I mean, come check us out. What are you doing this week? What are you doing? It's Monday. We're gonna be in Conway today. Rock and Roll Sushi from 4 to 6. Come hang out with us. It'll be a good time. We might hang out afterwards. We'll be in Little Rock the next 2 days after that. Tuesday we will be at Twin Peaks. Then we'll be at the game. Dickie Stevens, Arkansas. Who are they even playing? UAPB, I think.
I think that's right.
So
Yeah.
they got on the docket. We'll be out there for that. And then Wednesday, we will be at Town Pump, which I'm told by John Neighbors is the best dive bar in Little Rock. And
I'm
then
excited about that one.
after that, apparently we're going to the Fountain. I don't know what that is, but we'll be there. So come hang out with us.
Sounds
We'd appreciate
promising.
it. And in between any basketball news that happens, me and Scottie will be live from whatever location, and we'll talk about it. And if nothing pops off, and oh my gosh, I really hope something does, then we'll still record our daily thing and keep you guys as updated as possible. But I know everybody's got the itch. Hopefully, Coach Cal scratches it here soon. I think he will. But until then.
I hope so, dude.
All right, everybody. Appreciate you guys. Hope everybody had a good weekend. And buckle up for what we hope is an exciting week for Arkansas basketball. For Scottie Borderline, it's been Curtis Wilkerson with the Pot at the Palace, and we will talk to you guys here soon.